Making off the bonds, call that balling off boring. The market falling off, yeah, I called it, recorded. You thought you knew it all, but you saw it, ignored it. The price is falling off, yeah, you bought it, I stole it, yeah.
I put this at the end of the video, but everybody, if you did play this TLT play, let's show the world what we're doing and comment below. Comment below what you made on it. But again, too, I would skip to the end to understand. I did simplify this whole video and made this look extremely simple and easy. So go to the end of the video to understand, some of the intricacies, if anything. So enjoy this. What's going on, guys? I hope you're having a wonderful day. Today, I'm going to talk about exactly how I turned $100 into $11,000 with one trade. Now, one, it is an active position I'm still holding, but we've used some advanced strategies to maintain it. However, I want to show how you could have done it simply without any advanced strategies and going over really what you would need to do this and what other future events could resemble this if you want to play it. Because honestly, I think it's pretty cool. You could even view this as a side hustle if you just watch the news, are somewhat more aware, and have a basic understanding of options. You could utilize this, and the best part is you don't have to be day trading. It didn't require really much screen time, and best of all, if you just watch the watch list, we put it there. So I'm going to go over the trade. I'm going to show you guys here. We have the transaction history. You could even see it in the account right now. It's saying trade price $125 right there, and the total profit we're holding is $8,400 right now. So currently it's $125 to $8,400. However, we've already taken $2,500 cash on them, as you could see here. And this isn't Robinhood. However, we do have the Robinhood account, which I'm going to go over because I made a different trade on the dates, and it was actually even a better trade. I believe every $400, or excuse me, $4, literally $4, less than a Starbucks coffee, every $4 turned into $1,000. So there's a few things to address right away. This isn't Robinhood. We did it on Robinhood, and I'm going to explain both. This is actually Tastyworks. I have a referral link in the description if you guys want to support. But the best part is I've always told people, if you have a little bit amount of money, I recommend Robinhood because the no commissions is awesome. And even if you do build up an account, I would just stick with Robinhood as well too. If you really realize how to use it, if you want a little bit more tools and you have more than like $2,000, I would say, and the commissions aren't going to eat you up as much, I would upgrade to Tastyworks. But again, it's personal preference. So at the end of the day, all you need is a brokerage. And again, I have the keys. I have this pretty much broken down. I gave you a too long, didn't read for all of those who don't want to watch the whole thing. What you're going to need to do this, exactly what happened with how we made it, and then future events like this that can happen. And I still haven't even spell checked it. So we got that out the way. A few things I am going to have to explain before we get into it. One, we are live Monday through Friday, 30 minutes before open. So we got a YouTube live streaming channel. I'm trading live every single day. The best part about all of this play, a lot of you guys got to make money with it. A lot of you got to learn because you got to see it real time. Not only did we do every single one of these plays live, literally executed every single one in real time. Best part is this was last updated July 30th. This was the day that we made the play. I make a nightly watch list on this channel, and I pretty much put it in there. I said play of the day, play of the month, TLT, September to be cautious, or August 16th if you want to feed the YOLO demon, August 9th if you're a real sicko. And I explained the logic to it. So this is where it gets really, really advanced to a degree. But, again, if you're sticking around and you guys have some sort of interest in this, that's what we have the channel here. I'm doing some of the work for you, and I hope that you are able to contribute back by learning. And that's the next thing, too. In sharing this, there's two things happening. The fact that this event has already occurred, it will be harder to replicate in the future because now more people will be aware of this and prices are going to go up. And two, if I'm sharing this and this gets a lot of views, you're going to have more and more people going towards this. And I have a few other events to look at. Now, the first question I even ask myself is like, why would I share this? What's going to happen if I do share this? Wouldn't this eliminate my edge, even though the edge is already going to get eliminated based on the fact it already occurred? And I think it will, but my hope is that you guys ever spot something like this, you would come to me and ask for my assistance, and I would be able to give, in my opinion, weigh in on it, and we could both profit off of it. There's that aspect. And from the second aspect, I've always believed options trading, and again, this whole video, none of this is a recommendation. I'm not a professional advisor, anything like that. Even on the live stream, I'm just documenting what I do myself. I try to answer questions for people, but it's just all I'm saying is glorified opinion. So consult with a financial professional. do your own due diligence and research before making any investment. Understand you can't lose all, if not most of your money. Option trading is extremely risky. Please consult with a financial professional. Yeah, so there you go. But in all seriousness, because that's the reason why I'm not really too concerned with giving out information, because option trading is so risky and dangerous, and it's so difficult. Even if you know what to do, if you do get things at the right time and the situation's not there, you could still mess up. You could be right and still end up losing money. And, you know, this play was very unique because the day we bought it, the TLT, that's the play we play, it didn't move a lot since then. So I think all that stuff's out the way. Hopefully you guys learn from this, and hopefully you do not think this is above your head. This is the whole point of making this video, is to make it simple and show you how really I've even turned an interest in politics, the news, and just being aware of what's going on, how I've turned it to profitability. And you guys, like I even said, this could be a side hustle. If you imagine, you know, if you're able to hit some of these once every few months, even once a year, you know, something happens, you know how to utilize it and take advantage on the financial markets, and you go and you make $5,000, $10,000, $20,000, whatever it may be. It's a pretty good supplement to anything, and it doesn't really require much work out of you. And again, too, if you guys are really serious about learning this stuff, all the content on this channel is free. Again, all I ask is that you contribute back and that you're able to bring something to the table. Maybe not now, but sometime at a later date. You know, don't forget where you came from. It's the cult, baby. So let's get into it. This is what happened. Too long, didn't read. I waited for a scheduled news event, the Fed cutting interest rates. And this happened July 31st, and we bought the play the day before, July 30th. And you can see here, this is what happened. This play, the TLT, September 9/20, we purchased it for 5 cents. I sold half at $1. So I bought them for $5 each, sold half for $1 each. So and again, you multiply this by 100. So 5 cents is $5, $1 is $100. That was the event. That was the piece of news that came out. We bought an option on a stock, which was related to bonds. Again, it corresponded with the event and had a good chance going up. And we explained that here the day before the event occurred on the watch list, and I gave my thesis, and I even asked people to prove me wrong on this, and to literally, I said, prove me wrong. I wanted to get other viewpoints from it. This was my thesis on it. And then we used a simple swing trading strategy that does not require sitting in front of a computer screen all day. And there are a few similar events like this in the future that can happen. And that's what I'm going to talk about as we go through this video. And I also want to talk about the uniqueness of this event and how not all news events do this. I didn't finish this line, but sometimes now it's understanding the difference between the types of news events, because people will end up chasing the dragon. You see a play like this, then people start responding to news. They're like, oh my God, I heard Ford just put out a new truck. Like, they were supposed to buy the stock. Oh my God, Christmas is coming. We should buy everything. It's determining what type of news events are important. And again, what occurred, it was the first time something happened in 10 years. So there's that. Now there's your summary. I'm sure you guys comment. You could tag stuff in the comments if you like. But right off the bat, the first thing you're going to need to do this is an above average awareness of current events, or simply an above average interest. If, like, you know, if you care somewhat about what's going on, you turn on CNBC, you see stuff in the newspaper, you have to be somewhat in the loop. But the event that happened here, again, this was the Federal Reserve cutting interest rates. And now the theory we made, again, this is from the watch list that day before. I was saying if they do cut rates, if they cut small, bonds are going to go down because people will anticipate future cuts. If they cut big, people will do this. And again, it was saying the news was coming out, and now you have to have an above average awareness to know what was happening with the Fed at that time. It was talked about a lot, but like I'm saying, this didn't require you sitting in front of your screen, or you needed some special pay news feed or anything. This is a scheduled event by the Federal Reserve that occurs pretty much every month. And if you understand, and you didn't even have to pay attention to any other Fed meeting up until this one, and all even mainstream media news sites, they would have been telling you they're going to cut, and people were saying this, and it was understanding what would happen. Now, the next thing is going to kind of what types of news affects what industries. You know, the play we made here was a bond play. So it was playing the movement of bonds through a stock, and then we bought the option. So that's where it gets a little difficult, but I'm telling you, it's pretty simple. But essentially, I figured bond rates were going to go down because of the event. This was the first time, and again, why you needed to just be somewhat aware. This would have just been the first time something happened in a decade. And usually that's one of my best indicators. When news happens that hasn't happened in a long time, the first time in this many years, the first time in this, that's usually a good indicator. Then it's figuring out what would get affected. So I came to the conclusion that bonds would get affected and that bond rates would eventually go down. And TLT is a stock that represents how bonds are going to move. So if bond rates go down, TLT goes up. If bond rates go up, TLT would go down. That's why I said, okay, well, I think based after this news gets released tomorrow, bond rates are going to start going down and TLT is going to go up, and that's exactly what happened. So that's what you're going to need first, just somewhat of an interest. Next is a brokerage, and this is the bank that facilitates the transaction for you. Robinhood will suffice, just get approved for option trading when you do it, or you could use Tastyworks. This is done on Tastyworks, but again, I made the same play. I bought a different date. So again, and that's understanding the contracts with options, you could select different dates. We made a different play, and I made it actually the day after, which is kind of ironic. I bought it the day before the event actually occurred. So I bought the big set the day before, and then right before the news got released, I went on Robinhood and I bought 5 of these contracts for $4. So I spent $20 total. And again, yesterday those contracts expired August 16th, and they closed at about $900 a pop. So yes, $20 turned into about $5,000. Did I make that much? No, because as it started to go up, and this is part of what I was going to tell you guys as we move through this video, it's just, periodically looking at it, I sold one at 20 cents. Isn't that funny? The next day I sold one for $20 because it went up 500%. And then my logic was I could get all of my money back. So boom, I sold one, got all my money back. Then we keep coming up. Where does it happen? Then the next day I sold 2 at 50 cents. I was like, okay, I'll make 100. So now I have 2 left. And then it went up again to now 1 contract the next day, or 3 days later, went up to 160, how much I sold 2 for. And I was like, all right, I'll sell the last one. So you can see it's like 360, 370 so far is what I've taken, made the trade free. And then lastly, I finally closed out the last one at the end of the week here, but it was through a spread because I ended up selling premium and I made $298. So I made about like $600, $700 off of $20. So now the potential was $5,000, but I didn't execute this as well as I did on the bigger amount. And as you can see in this account, why did I hold this one so long? It was because it had more time, and that just goes into option trading. And this is going to be one of the weaknesses we're going to discuss here at the end, because again, it's easy to find the play. And this is what I was saying in the beginning too, that it's hard to execute. Even if you know what's going to happen, it doesn't always going to correlate. We could have made a lot more money on that, but it was understanding the risk and how to play it and hold it. And I could have executed the shorter term better, but usually I do a lot better when there's a lot more time because it's easier to go about. So a Robinhood will suffice. You just need option trading. That's all you need. Then you need the nightly watch list, which we post every single night. Again, if you just watch those, like I'm saying, if you're just generally interested or willing to spend 20 minutes a day, it's like watching a TV show. Or if you feel like there's a news event going on and you see something on TV or the media that looks like it could be important, just come on the watch list and we'll probably talk about it if it is. You need that time to monitor and check on the play periodically. Like I said, you don't need a day trade, but you do need to check on it. And as you see, every single one on the Robinhood, I would wait a few days to sell it. I did the same thing here. I bought it once, then I waited, then I sold out half, almost 2 weeks later, and I'm holding the other half. And then here you can see this play, I sold premium on it to guarantee myself another $2,500. So I've already taken $2,500 that I've sold. I sold another $2,500 here. So no matter what out of that play, I think I put $500 total, or no, I bought 50 of them for 5 cents each. As you can see here, 25,999. That's about 50 contracts at around 5 cents a pop. I spent about $250 for all those. I've already got all my money back. I've already sold, I ended up here, I sold 10 of these, or I sold 25 of these, as you could see. I sold those for $100 each. So I collected $2,500. Then I sold premium on this to collect another $2,500. So that's a different strategy right there. That's more advanced, but periodically over time, realistically, I just had to let this sit there. And then again, depending on the risk reward, and then just go about and periodically check it and manage it is what you would need for it. And then lastly, you just need an idea of what type of news will affect what industry. So this was for this play. You just needed to know what was going to happen, the rate cut, what could have possibly get affected, and which one now the next judgment is making, which will get affected the most. Some people are like, oh, this is going to affect gold, and gold did go up. Some people say this is going to happen. Which one do we go to? It's just like if any event happens, if there's a disaster, that's the type of news you could play. You have to know what industry it's going to affect. If the currencies of a country get devalued tremendously, it's knowing what would happen here and pretty much being able to correspond the types of news to the types of asset or play you want to make. So there's that. But like we said, first time, what happened? Federal Reserve cut the interest rates in over a decade. You didn't have to be a rocket scientist to know this. You just had to be somewhat interested. And now the key here is that the corresponding play didn't move leading up to it. And this is what I was saying, that it's not like you needed a day trade. You didn't need a crazy awareness. This is the play. This is that exact TLT play We bought it on 7.29, and then that same $4 to 21 or to $100 each, we bought that the day of. So you could have bought it the day before the news came out. Again, and this was a scheduled news event. This wasn't breaking news that happened out of nowhere. But take a look. This stock has pretty much stayed the same price for 2 months. That's telling you something about bonds, but even then, it barely moved. For about 2 weeks prior, it literally stayed at the same price. So again, this isn't day trading. You didn't need a crazy alert system. You didn't need anything. It's just timing, really, when it came down to it, and understanding what could get effect. It's more a macroeconomic understanding than anything, I would say, or just watch the watch list until you learn to do it on your own. But we bought the option. We literally waited, and as you see, managed profits in play as it went up and utilize some advanced techniques to maximize profits. But you could have done well without that, right? If I wasn't so hyper focused on taking this account was small. This account was coming up from $100. That's why I wanted to secure the bag, and hopefully you guys could see how that psychology has that effect. But I was selling it all the way as it kept going up and up and up and up. But if I just left it there up until expiration, I would have done well, just like I would have done here on this play. But that's it. All we did was we saw the news, or we knew a news event was going to come up. We knew it had a big level of importance, something that didn't happen in a while. We made a hypothesis on what industry it would affect and what stock it would move on. We bought the option, and all you had to do was wait at that point. It would have taken two and a half weeks so far for maximum profit, which we're at right now. But even within a few days, you would have been able to be, extremely profitable on it. But again, how much you made would have been how you decided to manage it. And then if you did, if you want to get advanced techniques, you could have sold premium like I did on this account, and so on and so forth. But again, as you see, even without those techniques, you probably would have made a lot more money, but that would have been a lot more risky. And that's what happens. It's just that, as and as a small amount of money, it's easy to just say, okay, it's play money and hold it. But think about it, this is worth $8,000. If you just put in $100 and it's worth $8,000, you're probably going to be more inclined to take it than just keep letting it ride, especially once you understand the risks of options. And that's pretty much what you guys really got to understand moving forward as well too. So there's that. And then lastly, and then I have to tell you guys really the problem with some of this too, but the future events like this that could happen now. So I'm telling you guys this so you understand what happened, so you understand how, I have a video, you guys could check it out on day swinging. You should check out the video on turning small amounts of money or using Robinhood a little bit better. But at the end of the day, this is what I want you guys to be aware of, and hopefully you could contribute back to what we got going on here, is spotting other events. Another event like this that could happen is another rate cut, and that the next meeting is going to be in September. So keep your eyes out for that meeting. And in September, that could happen again, or something could happen. And really, bonds are at a very crucial state here in the world. If you're aware of what's going on, a lot of countries are going into negative territory, and there's a real paradigm shift going on with bonds across the world. And again, if you see all these articles, recession this, recession that, bonds are going to get affected, because that's where, that's the biggest money market in the world that people are going to go towards. But another rate cut could happen. But now that people have saw what's happened, and if a lot of people see this video, it's more expected that the price is going to go up. But nonetheless, the bigger the surprise or the event, the bigger the move. So that's one thing. Another thing that could be forecasted, and again, this is what I'm saying, you don't need it doesn't have to be breaking news or whatever, is Brexit. Brexit's going to have an effect, and Brexit will affect bonds. There's another play like FXB, which will be, FXB is like the TLT of the British pound. There's even certain British companies. You could do a UK ETF. You could even do the general indexes on the S&P 500 if you wanted to. But the Brexit event, whenever Brexit happens, if they do a hard Brexit and they break off from that, that's going to have negative effects. That's going to cause effects. Even if it doesn't bring down the stock market, there's going to be some industry like TLT that gets moved. And that's what you guys got to see here. Sure, the market, it looks like the market just dropped, and that's what happened with bonds, but the bond market moved a lot further. But then take a look, these next 3 days, it dropped for 3 days, TLT went up for 3 days, but then the market stayed the same for 3 days, and TLT went up for 3 days. Market came back down, and this, you see where the market's at, but TLT just kept going up. So Brexit's going to have a play like this as well too, where there will be some industries and assets that will kind of just go and do their own thing. That's another event. Another one could be credit downgrades. These are rare, but so is the rate cut, first time every 10 years. But now if you ever see a credit downgrade for like a country, that could affect the country's bonds, or that could affect the country itself in their market. A good example is 2010-11. The U.S. was the first time the U.S. ever got their credit downgraded. This was under the Obama administration. There was issues over the debt ceiling. So again, any news with the debt ceiling, that can have an effect too. But we had the government shut down. They weren't getting a deal, and it didn't look like Obama was going to budge. He wanted his healthcare stuff going on. And again, I'm just giving you context, and you don't need to know this much. That's the craziest part. But the fact was, the ending result was there was a lot of uncertainty in the credit agencies. They downgraded United States credit, and boom, the stock market dropped 15% in a few days. It was epic. But it was crazy. It was scary too. So there's that. Another piece is negative news for a company. The CEO leaving, or congressional investigation, like we've seen with Facebook, or even a buyout as well too. But those are more breaking news, and that's the thing. Sometimes this is more breaking news, stuff that happens fast, but then a lot of times too, there's a lot of pieces of news in the market that occur that have really big importance, but the market just doesn't see it, or it's not going to react until later. And that's why it's hard to find some of these plays, because you're like, well, no one's buying this. Like imagine TLT coming into the days before that. But those are events you could look for. And then lastly, policy change that can affect the industry. So if there's news that the government's going to change this business or this industry and how this or that works, that could have an effect. And an example is coal under Obama too. He did the environmental protection, and they limited coal and all that stuff, and it was crazy because it was just like TLT. In the span of a few months, some of these coal companies dropped 50%, and that's very, very important. Any news of that nature is very important. If Trump says he's going to make raise tariffs on European cars by a crazy amount, it could benefit the U.S. car makers. Or if he says we're switching only to coal energy now, the coal companies will skyrocket. It's stuff like that where the policy change could happen, and those are the types of moves where they'll have big effects, but they're going to kind of lag, and you won't really, it's not like you have to be catching them the minute it happens. So there's that. And now the last part, I thought I wrote this down here, but it's what we're missing, what we didn't really include in this video, or what is, again, it sucks that I'm putting this last. Maybe I should put this first, but I'm trying to give this simple. I'm trying to give people insight into how we pulled this off, what's possible with options. Like I said, it could be like a side hustle because you only need one good play. And if you see the power of options, it allows you to leverage massive amounts of money. I think a great example here is I did a butterfly. Again, that's a more advanced concept, but you see here, I did this play for like pennies on the dollar, but when at close, it's in the money. It's like, whoa, buy 67,000. Got credited 136,000, then I had to deduct another 69,000. That's a lot of money when you're like, whoa, that's over $100,000. But that play cost me like $20. It's knowing how options can leverage big amounts, and that's why I always tell people you don't need to put a lot of money. $100 for 10 grand. If you're trying to put $1,000 for 100 grand, you're getting greedy and you're doing it wrong, because at that point, it doesn't make sense to buy some of these contracts, and with this level of uncertainty or your skill level or even your just financial backing. That's why, again, consult with a financial professional. These are very, very risky assets. It wouldn't make sense to try to put that much amount of money, but $100 you can. And again, you have to understand the intricacies. There's in the money options, out the money options, how far out of time. There's the difference between that August play and then the September one, why one had more time, why one didn't, why we got a 145 strike. It's we profited off of the option because we bought the right to this stock at $138. It went up to $148. We could sell every 100 shares for $138, or we could buy them at $138 and sell them at $148. In this case, I own the right till TLT till September at $145. So if it goes below 145, I'll start to lose money. If it goes above, I'll start to make money. But at the end of the day, I've simplified this concept extremely. So there is parts where it's not like, okay, news is going to happen, just buy the cheapest amount of contracts you can and you'll make money. No, you have to do a little bit of research in there. Again, that's why I say come on stream, come watch the watch list, and you could hopefully get a better idea of what's going on, or you could ask questions, see what other people are doing as well too. But at the end of the day, don't think it's that easy. Treat it with respect and you'll see. And again, if something like this it interests you and this is a lot of money to you, you could see how it may be worth a few hours of your time to just understand this stuff. So there's that. And there is an element of luck involved. We did get lucky. I thought it would go up to 145. I thought it would go up to like maybe 140, 142, but I didn't think it would go actually up to 145 that quick. So I did get lucky, and that's what allowed me to make more money. But hopefully you guys see, if you are interested in any of this stuff, just go check out the other videos we have. I got some other Robinhood videos to grow small accounts. And best of all, you can just watch all this done live. So hopefully I see you on stream, youtube.com/the stock market. Let me know your feedback, and do me a favor. If you guys made money on this play from the stream, comment that below. And yeah, let's show people what's really happening here. I love you guys. I hope you appreciate this. Hopefully this helps you, and hopefully you guys will be able to use this to help me at one point and bring up some dope information, or we could at least go back and forth on this. So have a good weekend. I'm going to get your watch list tomorrow, and we're going to be live on Monday, baby. Let's go.